And now, Fab Skin Hot Bodies with your host, world-renowned dermatologist, Dr. Jeanette Graf.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jeanette Graf, and welcome to Fab Skin Hot Bodies. It's time for your weekly prescription for beauty, lifestyle, and everything else that is awesome, especially related to skin. I really am so thrilled to have our next guest. She's amazing. Her name is Marcella Christine, and she's the owner of Marcella Christine Airbrush Tanning right here in New York City. And what we're going to do is talk about airbrush tanning. So I'm going to start by asking you a question. Have you spent your winter nestled in bed while the visions of beaches dance in your head? Have you avoided looking in the mirror while you get dressed because you have that pasty-looking skin during the winter? I know that I have been known not to look in the mirror when I'm dressing sometimes. And I am also somebody who is very pale and very pasty. And I'm one of those people that used to, before I knew better, I used to be in the sun, and I knew that we had to burn before we tanned. But what was a tan for me was really not really a tan for anybody else. So I got a lot of sunburns. So we're joined today with Marcella Christine, and Marcella Christine is the owner of Marcella Christine Airbrush Tanning, and she is an expert on all tanning. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Fantastic. So let's talk about airbrush tanning.
Let's do it.
For me, that's been one of the most difficult things. Now, I've used self-tanners of all sorts, and at first, one time, I remember I used a self-tanner that made me browner than the orange.
Right.
And I also remember that I kept putting it on and putting it on and putting it on. So I saw myself on television, and I said, oh, I look really muddy and dull. So talk to me about when someone comes into your salon, how you decide, and what steps they need to go through.
Right. So it definitely is a process. So before coming into the salon, you, the client, should be fully prepared. So that means I always send out pre-post airbrush tanning tips through email. So you need to go over that email and just cover everything. So exfoliate prior to come in. I would suggest doing that 2 to 3 days prior to coming in.
And what's the best way to exfoliate?
So you just want to use a nice grainy scrub. So I like a DIY scrub, just coconut oil, granulated sugar. It works beautifully. So use that, exfoliate 2 to 3 days prior to the session, only because you just don't want any residual oils on the skin, because that can prevent a barrier to the solution, which creates a not so good looking tan. So we want a flawless application. So exfoliate, shave and wax 2 days prior. Make sure, now this is huge, especially in the summertime. You just want to wear flip-flops, no socks, no sneakers, nothing too tight in the feet, because the socks can absorb the solution on the feet. So you don't want that. So you just need to be prepared. Loose fitting clothing, nothing too tight, especially in the summer when you're sweating. Your clothes are going to stick to you and it won't be pretty.
Well, that's a really great point.
So you need to do a lot of stuff.
So how long do you have to have the spray tan on before you can take a shower?
So I have 2 different options. You could either do the signature, where you rinse off in 8 to 12 hours after the session. So with that one, I would suggest doing that at night, only because afterwards you just want to, chill out, no fast moves. You don't want to get wet. You don't want to sweat. So you don't want to be, how we are in Manhattan. We're always running around. You just don't want to break a sweat. So do that at night, go home, relax, let it develop overnight, rinse when you wake up. So then another option is the express. You could rinse that off in 1 to 3 hours. So with that one, it works very quickly. Yes, you get a quicker rinse off time, but you see the full color the next day. So after you rinse off, it's going to continue to develop over the next 24 hours.
So why wouldn't people just go for that? Because that sounds more efficient to me.
Everyone says that. Everyone asks that question. It all depends on your lifestyle and your personal schedule. So me, for instance, I finish up at the salon around 10:30. I don't get home till 12. So I normally spray tan myself after work. So once I get home and I shower, I don't want to wait up 2-3 hours to rinse off the express, because if you leave it on for more than 3 hours, it will get super dark and super unnatural. So that's why I do the signature. I let myself sleep with it on. I get up whenever I want and leisurely rinse off, and it's not going to be any darker or lighter. So with the signature, once it's applied, the color is controlled. But with the express, you as the client are basically in control of how light or dark it gets, because the timing decides that. If you rinse off in 1 hour, it's light, 2 hours for medium, 3 hours for dark.
And how times have changed, because I always bring this back to skin because I'm a dermatologist, and I can't say enough terrible things about actual tanning beds. And the rates of melanoma skin cancers just skyrocket from that. So we absolutely tell you, don't go into a tanning bed. And it actually increases your risk even for those who go to the beach on a regular basis. That risk is so great. So spray tanning is wonderful. It's really important for people to know that a spray tan is not giving you the protection of a tan. So using an SPF is essential, because you will look tan, but you are not going to have the protection of a tan, right?
Right. The spray tan is not a base tan. So you definitely need to put on SPF, especially if you're going to be vacationing on a beach, because it's not protecting your skin at all.
Yeah, and I was kind of looking at the history of tanning. When did it become? Because back at the turn of the century, it was really, we kept our faces covered. We had umbrellas because it was a sign of the aristocracy that you were light, that you didn't have to work in the fields. And then all of a sudden, here comes Coco Chanel.
Yes.
And hey, let's tan, baby.
Right.
And since that, we know that sunless tanning is the only safe way to have a tan. But the tanners that we first used to have were beta carotene, and you look kind of orange.
Very orangey,
so how do you
yes.
stop yourself from looking like a cheese doodle?
Well, definitely the solutions, the products have come a long way. So I've been doing this, I've been tanning for 11 years now. And I do remember when even not too long ago, maybe 4 years ago, I was using a solution, and my boyfriend at the time, he was like, "You look like a carrot. This is horrible." And to me, my solutions, they're like liquid gold, So, and the next day after he said, "Oh, you look like a carrot," my solution bottles were empty. I'm like, where is my solution? Like, this is my liquid gold. Where is it? He's like, "I dumped it in the toilet. Like, you're not using that anymore." What? Yes, because I would fall asleep on his chest, and he would be wearing white shirts, and it would be orange. I'm like, all right, fine, throw it out. So that's when I started testing other solutions, and I really found the best stuff where you're not going to look orange. It's not going to come off once it's developed, because it really shouldn't be doing that. So solutions have come a long way. And just before the session, you should make sure the technician is putting a barrier cream on the hands, the elbows, knees, the feet, because those tend to be the driest areas. So the dry areas really soak up that solution quicker than the rest of the skin would, leaving it looking very unnatural and patchy. So as long as you have, the right technician that knows what they're doing, prepares you and has the right solution, you should not look like a Cheeto.
Now, tell me, what is actually happening when you get a self-tanner? When you're getting an airbrush, what's going on? You're spraying this onto the skin. What's happening on the skin level?
So the active ingredient in all self-tanners and professional tanning solution is DHA, which is dihydroxyacetone. So it's basically working on the uppermost layer of the skin. So it's a carbon sugar. So it's working with the amino acids on the uppermost layer of the skin, which is turning it brown, which is turning it tan. So that's what's
So it's
really
a skin
seeing.
reaction.
Yeah.
That's perfect. And let's say if you want to maintain your tan, would you do it once a week? How often?
So it should last you a good 5 to 7 days on the face, 7 to 10 days on the body. That's with proper care. So you just want to moisturize your skin. You actually just really want to hydrate your body inside and out. So moisturize your skin as well as drink a lot of water. So just keep yourself hydrated, lukewarm showers, nothing too hot.
Right.
Pat dry with your towel if you're on the beach, if you're swimming, and you should be good. It should last you a little over a week. So every week and a half, 2 weeks.
Now, do you have to re-exfoliate? Because we are going to get that dead layer of skin coming back.
You should definitely exfoliate, just because you don't want product buildup where it looks patchy. So always exfoliate before that next session.
So 3 days before is the cardinal rule.
3 days before. Yeah, just so you don't have that residual oil, just in case.
And there's an interesting, because you talked about the inside. I'm gonna cite a study that I found fabulous, because I am really a fan of nutrition. And there was actually a study that was done in, I think it was the UK a few years ago, where women actually liked the glow that they had from eating beta-carotene-rich vegetables, such as carrots and dark greens, because you know what gets to your skin.
Right.
And I actually think that's a good thing, because that tells me that your skin's getting this extra layer of protection. So women liked the glow that they had, the tan from the vegetables, then they liked it better than the tan that they got from the sun. Now the sun, and we're not talking about sunless tanning, we're talking about the sun, because the sun, you have to realize what's happening is it's bombarding your body with really damaging rays. So it's drying out your skin, it's breaking down your skin, and the reason we're getting tan is because the melanin that we have, or in my case don't have, is creating a block.
Right, it's protecting your skin from burning.
So let me ask you, if someone with my coloring comes in, is there such a thing where you have to stop them and say, okay, that's too dark for you?
Well, for you, if you wanted to go dark, I wouldn't necessarily say no, because I think you have dark hair, you could handle it. However, if a client comes to me who's very fair-skinned with like red hair and they wanted to go super dark, that's when I would say, I would try doing this instead. It'll look a little more natural. Rather look natural than fake.
So times have changed a lot. So someone comes in, you give them this preparation, and they generally will come in, and they have to wear very loose clothing, otherwise.
Yes, dark and loose. Otherwise, it just may rub off on the clothes, and you don't want that. And also, if it's very tight, as you're putting on like a tight tank top, it might streak as you're pulling it down. And same goes for leggings and yoga pants. None of that stuff.
So what are some of the myths about airless tanning?
Well, again, it is not going to turn you orange. It really shouldn't. Again, with the right products, you're not going to look orange. You're not going to look unnatural. And also, it is safe for you. People say like, oh, well, what is this stuff? Like, how is it turning the skin tan? It's a natural carbonless sugar, so it's not going to harm you in any way.
Well, what I think is really extraordinary is that your whole salon, your entire salon is really devoted to this, which really speaks to your success and speaks to the fact that you really know your stuff, because people keep returning.
Yes.
Nothing like a return customer.
Yes, for sure.
I remember a story that I was actually, because a lot of bodybuilders, they paint themselves.
Oh yeah,
because
big time before the competition.
So,
but they go very unnatural. They go very super dark.
I have to tell you something. My brother-in-law used to write for Muscle Fitness, Ironman, like bodybuilding magazines, and they would have the Ironman competition at the Beacon Theater, and I would sit in the press booth with him, and he was one of the bodybuilders. He would say to me, "Okay, ready? 3, 2," and they would turn around. 3, 2, 1, Mudman.
Yeah, it's too much. But it defines the muscle. It gives you good contour. So
Now,
do
you do things? For example, are there contouring techniques in self-tan, in airbrush tanning, where you can actually make the abs look more pronounced, so that you will do it darker in certain areas?
Yes, so that's what's great about a custom airbrush tan versus a spray booth tan. So with the airbrush tan, we could customize it. If you do want a little contour, we could totally do that on the sides of the tummy, just to give you that little shadow, so it makes you look a little tinier. Same with the back of your legs, same with the arms and the face as well.
So could you go into a little more detail about the difference between a spray booth tan? What is a spray booth tan, and what is the airbrush?
So with the spray booth, it's basically just a machine that you're in, and the machine is spraying you. So if you've never done it before and you're in that spray booth for the first time, you have this machine speaking at you like, move here, do this, do that. And if you move the wrong way, you might miss a whole area of the body, which will leave you white in one area and tan in another. So it's very easy to mess up with a spray booth tan. So with a airbrush tan, it's customized. You have a technician doing it. You cover every little crack and crevice. So, when you're on the beach and you have a bathing suit on, right under the tush, there's like these little cracks. You have these little cracks and crevices. In the spray booth, the spray booth doesn't get that area. So with the airbrush tan, we get everything so it looks nice and flawless like a natural tan would. There's nothing missed, no spots missed.
I love it. And I think we can both agree that having a great tan and great color really can lift our confidence.
For sure. For sure. It puts a little extra pep in your step. At least for me. You feel a little more glamorous and you just feel good, look good.
Now, you have a very strong background as an esthetician and in aesthetics, but somehow you were drawn to this. What drew you to this particular niche?
Well, one, I myself, I love having color year round. So I'm super fair. I burn very easily. My freckles come out on my face right away. So I initially started tanning in the tanning beds when I was 17. And it was really bad. I was going every 4 to 5 days, only because I worked at a tanning salon at the time. So I was going in the tanning beds all the time and I would not be able to achieve the color I wanted. So eventually my boss at the time, he added airbrush tanning on to the menu. So he got us all certified for it. And it was like a tanning, it was the best thing. It was like a tanning miracle for me. I'm like, okay, I could tan. I'm not going to damage my skin. I don't have to worry about that anymore. And I could achieve the color I want. And then I was just doing it for myself for a while, doing it for my friends. And then when I was working as a medical esthetician, I saw a lot of my clients coming in with, I never really saw firsthand the damage the sun could do. So scars from getting melanoma taken off and just hyperpigmentation all over the chest and the hands. And all these clients were spending so much money to fix this damage that I decided, you know what, let me do this airbrush tanning thing full time and bring this, guilty-free alternative to my clients.
Well, I think that that's great. And here's the question that I also have, because I know what I tell patients about sun protection. And I tell them, by all means, you can have a spray tan. But do not think for 1 minute that it's a real tan.
Right.
So I have them, my preferred type, I have them wearing sunblock. Actually, when you're going to take a tropical vacation in the middle of winter, I have them applying sunblock every night for a month because...
Get them in the habit, right?
Well, because, there's a reason that we have a slow transition of seasons is because the skin has to get used to the change in weather. So if you've been hibernating in the winter and all of a sudden you're going to a tropical climate, even if you do everything the correct way, which is putting your sunblock on a half hour before going out, you're going to get burned. But there's a collective effect of SPF, of sunscreens. So I always talk about that, and I like zinc sunscreens a lot. What kind of protection tips do you give your clients? What are your favorites?
Well, I would suggest, honestly, starting with a diligent skincare routine. So that starts in the morning when you wake up, cleanse, tone, and always put on a moisturizer with the SPF on top, or a moisturizer that has SPF in it, at least 30 plus. And reapply throughout the day, especially on the hands, décolleté, neck. You want to cover everything because you wouldn't think, but even when you're walking on a lunch break outside, your hands are exposed, your chest, your neck is getting exposed. So make sure you hit all those areas with SPF, especially in the summer. Maybe throw on one of those trendy floppy hats that are in. Just cover up, stay covered. And
make sure that they're SPF treated hats, because there's
SPF treated hats?
Yeah.
Well, that I have never heard of.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you learn something new every day.
Yes, and actually, you don't even have to order them online with Coolabar, or you can actually go into one of the sporting goods stores, and they have all this SPF treated clothing, including hats, because SPF treated clothing is an SPF of 50. So
I love it. This is great to know.
Well, that's great. Also, UVA, which are the long wavelengths, it's the same all year round. It's important for people to wear sunblock all year round.
For sure. Yes, even in the winter months.
Now,
the sun's still there.
Is there something about the airbrush tanning materials that are used that are conditioning to the skin, that are moisturizing, that are anti-aging?
So some solutions, yes, they do have conditioning properties. Sweet almond oil is in there, which is very good. Chamomile extract is in there, which is also calming for the skin, especially if you're spray tanning someone with acne. That tends to treat the skin as well. So certain solutions do have certain things that can hydrate the skin.
That's fantastic. And you said typically a spray tan will last you 5 to 7 days.
Correct. Well, 5 to 7 days on the face, 7 to 10 on the body. So a little
7
bit
to
longer
10.
on the body.
Interesting.
Yes, only because our face, it has a quicker cell turnover than the rest of the skin would.
And do you have a particular type of moisturizer for the body that you tend to feel will help last longer?
For sure. So anything that that's not oil or alcohol based. So I would suggest cocoa butter, shea butter. That's the best.
I'm a shea butter fan.
Yes, and it's nice. It feels nice too.
I love it. And, do you find that most people are getting spray tans all year round? Or I know
For
I
sure.
have patients that they're going to go on vacation, so they want to get their spray tan.
Right. So I have clients coming in for all different types of reasons. So yes, there are those clients who come in, they have a package just to use, before that birthday party or wedding or charity event. But then I also have clients who come in like me, who like to maintain their color all year round. But also I have clients who come in to treat their skin conditions. So I have a handful of clients who have vitiligo. So just mild case. So what's good about the customized airbrush tan, we could target those specific areas that are hypopigmented that need a little extra color. So it's a nice smooth skin complexion.
And let me just say that takes talent and speaks to your talent, because vitiligo is depigmented skin. So you have to match their skin
Right.
with your airbrush. That's not easy.
Yeah, it's like a little tanning solution cocktail. You have to mix it up and just make sure you get that right shade. But it's definitely possible. It's doable.
Does that last as long as any other spray tan?
Yes, correct. The same amount.
Okay, so all of you, there's a lot of patients with vitiligo, even if it's just on one area of your body. Go to Marcella Christine's airbrushing tan salon, because she will be able to help you with your vitiligo. So you'll be able to go to the beach and not be self-conscious or have to put on any of that camouflage makeup. That's fantastic.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
That's good stuff. So I'm going to ask you some celebrity questions.
Okay.
Okay.
The fun stuff.
Well, because I see all these different celebrities. Who's got the best spray tan?
The best. Well, J-Lo looks great. I mean,
She looks
she has
amazing.
she has a nice olive complexion naturally, but you could tell when she has a spray tan. It's just enhanced a little bit more.
But she's also got the bronze look.
Yes.
So that's not spray tan. That's actual makeup that she has to put on. Can a spray tan do that? Give you that apricot type of bronze look that she
Well, I mean, there's different types of shades. So you could go for like a golden or more of like a Mediterranean with like a violety undertone. So it all depends. You could customize it.
Okay, and another one is Charlize Theron, who's gorgeous.
Yes, she looks natural. It looks like it would be her natural
Beautiful.
color.
Yeah,
She does like a nice glow.
Yeah, and Jennifer Garner, Nicole Kidman.
Oh yes,
They look great. They
Yeah.
look very natural. There are others who aren't quite as careful.
Yes. Do you remember what's it called? Jersey Shore, Snooki.
Oh, yeah.
Bad.
Well, I think she actually went into a tanning bed. Am I wrong?
No, probably. Yeah, you're right. She probably did a little bit of both.
Because that
Who
was when
knows?
they were actually talking about taxing tanning beds, and she was really against the tax.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, but hers was not too natural. You don't want to look like that, guys.
No, and there are some people who really can wear it well, and then there are people.
Mariah Carey.
Yeah,
She looks great. And she also does, after her spray tan, she likes to get literally like a gold mist over it, like gold sparkles over it.
Yes, you're right. She sparkles.
Yes. But she looks good. It looks good.
She looks fantastic. Who else?
Whom else? Let's see. Well, have you heard about Martina Big? Have you guys heard of Martina Big?
Tell us.
All right, so...
Scoop.
Oh, boy. So she's from Germany, I believe, and she's naturally very fair. And she looks super unnatural. Now, she uses tanning injections.
Oh, God. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
I remember hearing about tanning injections about 10 years ago. We've been talking about how horrible they are.
Yeah.
So could you please speak to that?
So 10 years ago, and it's still not FDA approved.
Well, tell our listeners about what they are.
So tanning injections, I think the product is called melanotan.
Right.
And it's a chemical similar to the hormones that, cause the skin, the melanin to stimulate and cause a tan. But there's severe adverse reactions to that. And there haven't been any long-term clinical trials to even know how it's going to affect you further down the line, even if you hadn't had those symptoms like nausea, dizziness. That's the little stuff. But people get open wounds that they need stitched up. They get infections at the injection site or even where those open wounds are. Nothing good comes out of it. And then you also can't determine how it's going to disperse throughout the skin. So some areas get darker than others, so it leaves you with an uneven tan. So this is another thing that nothing good comes out of it.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you brought that up because I remember when we were talking about tanning injections and just the very sound of it. You're messing with a regulatory hormone in your body. Not a good idea.
No.
Not a good idea.
No, I would not even think about it.
And then I've seen some of the celebrities who one day they're tan, one day they're not. They're just very irregular looking, and like Lindsay Lohan has her moments.
Oh, yes. Yeah, and even when she did have the tan, though, it didn't look too natural. I don't know what she's doing. I don't like the look.
Right now she's kind of covered.
Yeah, yes, I've seen that. Yes.
We wish her all the happiness.
Of course.
And as long as she's well. But you know what? With today's technology of airbrush tanning, and you have given us such an education, I am definitely coming to your place.
Yes, I can't wait.
Because, the only thing I have to get past is taking off my clothes.
Oh, please, it's nothing.
I am so white that it's just, I used to lay out in the sun and try to tan. And I didn't even realize, because you have such a beautiful natural tan, that you actually look like this is your color.
This is
But you have light eyes.
Yeah. Well, my mom, she's Greek, and she's, oh, bless her, she's olive complexion. She's in the sun for 2 minutes, has a beautiful bronzy tan. And I would, she would see me come home burnt from the tanning salon. She'd be like, stop trying, you'll never be my color. And because I'm like my father, he's Sicilian. You would think he's dark, but he's super fair, just like me. Fair, white, with like a pinkish reddish undertone. Oh, yeah.
There's actually an area in Sicily that's like all redheads.
That's probably where we're from, probably.
Because you really do look natural, and you have light eyes.
Yes.
And it's really interesting because I have sisters. None of us look alike. I have chestnut dark hair and blue eyes. My other sister has blonde hair and hazel eyes. She can get very dark. Yeah. And I have another sister who's got like ash brown hair and gray eyes, and she can get very dark. I'm the only one that was not able to get any color. So
like me, I know.
I want our listeners to have the benefit of how they can contact you.
Great, of course, yeah. So all of my contact information, my email, my number is on my website, which is www.marcellachristine.com, MarcellaChristine.com. So if you have any questions, I could always answer them through my website over there.
And do you have an Instagram account yet?
I do have an Instagram, yes.
Give it to us.
It's MC_airbrush tanning.
If any of our listeners are interested in getting a great airbrush tan at Marcella Christine's Airbrush Tanning Place, well, how can they reach you? How can they make an appointment?
Sure. So they could give me a call at 917-912-5413, or they could just go on my website and message me through there, www.marcellachristine.com, MarcellaChristine.com.
Fantastic. Oh, Marcella, I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show today and giving us such an education. And I've learned a lot from you, but I always bring it back to skin, and you've got to take care of the skin you're in. So all of the tips that Marcella gave are absolutely, I agree with them 100%. Protect your skin. Before you get your spray tan, make sure that you take care of your skin and prepare it, but always moisturize and protect. Every 2 hours, you should reapply sunscreen if you're going to be outdoors in the summertime.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so fun to be here.
Thanks for tuning in to Fab Skin Hot Bodies with your host, Dr. Jeanette Graf.